Hey, what's up guys, it's Gage from ARG, and what I have in front of me is the November 9th, 2015 TCG Forbidden and Limited list. This is quite a doozy. This is actually just the compiled changes out of the entire list. I actually have the entire list up right here. It's on the official Konami site, as you can see, effective from November 9th, 2015. So this is the official list, but these are just the compiled changes out of the list, so we don't have to go scrolling through the entire thing to find them. And it's quite a doozy. There's a lot of changes on here, as you can see, and a lot of them are really, really big changes. Nothing really too small that won't affect the meta much. Everything is affecting the meta a lot. I'm sure you guys have already heard a lot of talk around the community as what's going to be tier 1, what's going to be broken. Well, I'm going to go through the list with you guys, and we'll talk about it a little bit. We'll see what we can find. We have Forbidden, Apocryphal Towers, Sharit, Strategist of the Necros, El Shaddai Construct, and Evil Swarm, Exoton Knight. Limited, we have Clifford Scout, Graph Malambranch of the Burning Abyss, Mathematician, Necros of Brionac, Necros of Unicorn, Virtual Beast Ulticana Hawk, El Shaddai Fusion, and Reinforcement of the Army. And semi-limited, we have Seer, Malambranch of the Burning Abyss. Unlimited, we have Chaos Sorcerer, Legendary Six Samurai Shien, Spellbook of Fate, and Gear. So there is a lot of changes on this list here, a lot of them. Let's go break it down section by section and go through exactly what's really major about them. So for the Forbiddens, these are all really big. There's Apocryphal Tower, Sharit, Strategist of the Necros, El Shaddai Construct, and Evil Swarm Exoton Knight. Huge hits to all of them. Apocryphal Towers, Towers Turbo, if you guys were unfamiliar with the deck, or if you just completely blanked at that period of time, it was a retarded deck. It was really, really broken. The deck just being able to pump out Apocryphal Towers multiple times per game. If dropping 1 was enough as is, but dropping 2 to maybe, I doubt you even made it to 3, but dropping 3 is just absurd. And that's what the deck kind of did. It just kind of got to towers as fast as it could, dropped it as fast as it could, and won the game from there, because you just literally could not obstacle the card. So this card being on the Forbidden list, I think, is something that players a lot of wanted. Actually, we did it on the ARG format list. I think maybe last list we did it, but this card is just absurd, and I'm happy that it's hit. It was definitely a much needed hit. From the very start, we could realize this card was broken, and ever since its inception, it's still been absolutely broken. So a much needed hit, yes, and I'm very happy about that. We also have Sharit, Strategist of the Necros. Wow, they took down the little guy all the way to 0. They had it at 3, I think. No, they had it at 1. They had Sharit at 1 in the Konami list before this, and now they just completely took him out of the game. That's pretty impressive if you ask me. To really target Sharit as one of the problems of the deck was something I would have actually never expected. I know over here, us in ARG, we decided Necros of Trishula was a big problem, but targeting Sharit as a problem I think was actually a really good choice, because now I don't know what the deck's going to be able to do. They could cycle the Sharit sure with Unicorn still being at 3, but now Unicorn also on this list is at 1. So I'm pretty sure this is the fall of Necros, unless somebody's going to find a way to somehow break it again. Maybe use Gishki, I think it's Vision or something, the one that substitutes a whole water monster tribute. If they want to get fancy with that, go ahead. But I believe we might just see the end of Necros here, with Sharit coming in the Forbidden list, and of course Bryo and Unicorn both getting limited. I just think that's way too big of a hit. Actually, am I mad about it? No, I think it's time for a new cycle of the meta. It's definitely something that's been long coming, and I'm very happy about it. Which also brings me to the point of El Shaddai Construct being forbidden. This is one I actually never would have thought. With Clown Shaw being really kind of dominant, I guess Construct was kind of a target for it, but completely forbidding, like just getting rid of it. That's a really bold move. Like now, I'm not even sure even Shaddai's decks can function properly, just because El Shaddai Construct was such a centerpiece of the entire deck. Not even just because of its attribute, but the fact that it was able to send a Shaddai monster from deck to graveyard upon its summon was something that really cycled the deck, really made it powerful. But now, just taking it off the deck, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like it's gonna be able to function the same as it used to be. With all the powerhouse things being able to send clowns from deck to graveyard and be able to use them immediately with Shaddai Fusion, that's no longer going to happen. Light might not even be an attribute you see in a Shaddai deck, which that's kind of flimsy and weird if you ask me, because the next one that's really that good is either Winda or Shekanaga, but those aren't nearly as impressive as Construct is. So I think Shaddai decks are kind of going to fall by the wayside as well, just because of this hit, and that's kind of unfortunate. And even one of these the weirdest hit on the list probably, Evil Swarm Exoton Knight. Like it's gone now. The card's really good, don't get me wrong, and it punishes overextension on the enemy player, which is something that I really like. But having the card Forbidden seems a little awkward to me, just because it wasn't a necessary card too. It is a degenerate card, being able to make an opponent that's really behind on an advantage just completely take control of the game. I think that's really unfair. But Forbidden, they couldn't limit it, of course. That wouldn't make any sense. But I don't know. I don't think it should have been forbidden. Yeah, maybe there should have been a time where it could have been, but I think this is also a really good time to kind of get rid of it before we get the Performa Pals and the whole level 4 engine kind of boosts up again. Because right now we only have Satellas really going into rank 4s consistently, but with the new Pendulum decks coming out, it's going to be a necessity. And with it Forbidden now, I think it might help. So there's that. Forbidden's really big hits, really interesting. And for Limited, there's also really interesting. Clifford Scout, stop. They're already dead, Konami. I don't think Clifford's actually did anything with a hit to 2. Well, no, Towers Turbo, excuse me, that's wrong. But limiting Clifford Scout to 1, I guess it kind of just puts Cliffords on their last leg, really. Because now, if you get rid of their 1 Clifford Scout, the deck is going to have a very difficult time functioning. It's going to be so hard to function for the deck. I don't even think the deck could be playable at that point. And now, I know the deck didn't really do too much before. I know Necros and Burning Abyss really took the reins, and Clifford kind of just fell by the wayside. But with Clifford Scout at 1, I think there's no way it's coming back. Having Summoning are at 3, what's the point? You can search Monolith, but you can search Clifford Scout, which is infinitely better. But if that 1 Scout is gone, there's nothing you can do. So that's another interesting one. Graph, Malambranch, and the Burning Abyss. One of the actually 2 Burning Abyss hits on this list, and that's one of the more interesting ones too. I know Graph is one of the early game starter cards. Like as soon as you get a Graph rolling, you get all your resources onto the field, and you start piling up the advantage. But now with Graph limited at 1, I guess it's still a pretty significant early game card, but now you can't hard draw it, which I know opening hand Graph isn't nearly that bad because you go normal summon, special summon another one, and then detach it when you make the Dante and you get a special summon, which is still a lot. It's pretty much like a pseudo tour guide at that point. So I think having limited at 1, I think it's really becoming just more of a utility card to start netting hard advantage in the mid games. But in the early games, you can't hard draw it anymore, which is definitely a sad thing to see. One of the trios is now at 1, and that's kind of disappointing. Mathematician was another one of the most awkward hits on this list next to Exciton Knight. I just don't understand it. Like, it's a good card and everything, but that's another hit to Burning Abyss, another hit to Shadal's if they played it. It's a really awkward card to hit. I'm sure there's going to be something I don't see, something that's broken in the future with it, and maybe that's what they saw too. They foresaw the card just being absurd later on. But at the moment, I don't really see anything Mathematician's doing. But hey, that's just me. Limiting it, sure, I guess it's putting it on Foolish Burial level. I guess it's what they kind of intended. Necros of Brionac, Necros of Unicorn. We already talked about it along with Charit. It's just kind of the fall of Necros at this point. Brio just being able to hurt the consistency even more. And, of course, Unicorn being able to hurt the ability to recover, hurt the ability to make plays later game is gone now. It's like, it's really... It's sad, kind of. Like, Necros just kind of got the swift kick in the ass. Like, I don't think they can come back. It's just too big of a hit, I think. There's way too much gone. Rest in peace, Necros. Ritual Beast, Ulti Kanahawk. Another awkward... there's 3 awkward hits on this list in the form of Exciton Knight, Mathematician, and this. I haven't seen Ritual Beast do anything besides maybe the YCS, the 150th, or Nats even, actually, maybe Nats too. But other than that, the deck just didn't do too much. And limiting Ulti Kanahawk, I guess, isn't that bad, though, because you just do loop them. But having it at 1, hitting Ritual Beast for some reason, seems kind of weird to me. Maybe they expected it to be kind of over the top within hitting the other meta decks, which is a good call on their part then, because they want to have other decks come up. But, again, I just didn't see the Ritual Beast hit really significant. El Shadal Fusion at 1, again, another hit to Shadal. As you can see, there's hits to meta decks everywhere in this. El Shadal Fusion at 1, sure, I guess. I mean, it's just, I feel like it's adding salt to the open wound at that point. Construct's already gone. El Shadal Fusion wouldn't do too much. I can see this coming back to 2 or 3 in the next list, just because they'll see Shadal's will not do too much with Construct Forbidden. Maybe that's just me. Rhoda at 1. I'm so happy to see Rhoda back on the limited list. I remember back in the day when people were complaining how Noble Knights couldn't do anything because Rhoda was still at 1, and then it came to 2, and everybody was like, oh my god, maybe it can actually do something, and it didn't do anything, so I guess they were like, okay, bring it to 3. It was a 3 for quite a while, if we remember, and the card's just absurd, man. Like, it was not used anywhere for Noble Knights, not for what it intended. It just became abilities to search really Chirrit, and of course to help Satellars out, which is another thing that hits Satellars, which of course is a really easily replaceable card with that of Painful Escape, which that's not too many people are realizing, excuse me. But Rhoda now limited, it's gonna hurt Satellars, which I guess is really good in the form everything else is getting kind of hit, and also just using it as a generic card to search maybe the one warrior you have in your deck, i.e. Chirrit, i.e. maybe Colossus, you would search Colossus too. It just seemed kind of broken at that point, and I'm happy to see it back at 1. I don't think it was really necessary to have it at 3. It's just a really, really broken card if you ask me. Semi-limited, the only lone one we have is Seer, Malamraj of the Burning Abyss. I don't know about Seer and Graph. I probably would have switched it if it were up to me. I feel like Seer is the much better card in the scenarios where you can just keep looping Dante's and everything. Having it at 2 is still a pretty significant hit, though, because now that's just one less Seer you get to use. So that's kind of satisfying to me to see. But I definitely probably would have switched the 2 if I wanted to hit Burning Abyss. I feel that would have been probably better in my eyes. Unlimited Chaos Sorcerers, Legendary Six Samurai Shien, Spellbook of Fate, Gear. The first 2 don't really matter. Chaos Sorcerer's not going to do anything. Shien's not going to do anything either. I'm sorry. But Spellbook of Fate and Gear. Spellbook of Fate's interesting. We've seen the price kind of hike up to like maybe $12 for Ultras, which is really interesting because I don't see Spellbooks doing anything with Fate at 3. Like, even with Fate at 1, you would just, of course, loop the one Fate, but you'd be able to loop it consistently. So it just really didn't matter that it had one Fate. But having it in 3, I guess people are like, oh, now it's absurdly broken or it's going to be good. I don't see it. I don't see the format slowing down enough for Spellbooks to be good again unless they have Judgment. Maybe that's just me, but let me know what you guys think about that. And then Gear. Again, like I said with the Spellbook of Fate, people are hyping up Gears, thinking, oh, it's our time to shine again. I just think it's way too far past. I don't think Gears can really do anything, even with their famed trap card back at 3. I just don't see it. So, a very interesting list. I personally enjoy the list a lot. I like it. It's a breath of fresh air from the meta, something we have not seen in a very, very long time. And I'm very happy to see it. With all the new sets coming out and all the new support, having a new meta come up is going to be really interesting. What's good? Cosmo. Cosmo's good, Magiceptor's good. Really, those 2 decks are the most absurdly broken decks of the format right now until we get Breakers of Shadows. Until you see Breakers of Shadows, though, you're going to be seeing a lot of Magiceptors and a lot of Cosmo. So I hope you guys are ready for that. But other than that, when Breakers of Shadows drops, I'm pretty excited for the meta that comes. And we don't have to deal with Nekroz, Cliffort, Satellar, or Shaddolls as much, if you will. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of the Forbidden Limited list. You'll be seeing this at Anaheim in action, which is pretty interesting. I think Anaheim's in the middle of November, so that's something really interesting to look forward to, and I hope you guys tune in on the stream. It's going to be really fun to watch. But yeah, if you guys like the video, be sure to like the video. Thumbs up if you're having, especially you enjoyed the video. If you guys want to buy or sell products, if you want to attend HAL events, and if you want to read articles from the top players, AlterRealityGames.com is your place to go check out. Be sure to like our Facebook fan page and subscribe to our Twitch stream if you haven't already. But as always, I thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll catch you guys next time. Gage from ARG, signing out.